Essentially, if you think about rewarded user acquisition, you should think about an offerable. This is simply a marketplace. This can be an application or an external API or iframe integrated into other apps or sites. And an offerable basically provides a selection of different tasks that users have to complete to get some kind of a reward. It might be internal currency, coins, or whatever. And essentially, in order to get those rewards, users have to engage with different products that are promoted.
When we should start thinking about rewarded UA.
So when it comes to non-gaming, you got to understand if your audience can resonate with an offer, whether you're going to buy it from. If we're talking about some kind of a crazy credit score or fitness apps or lifestyle apps, you got to understand that it might be hard to find an offerable or reward UA provider that would actually provide you with an audience that would resonate with your own. You can be given rewards for trying out your app or for taking on a free trial or subscribing, etc. But users might be only interested in the rewards, and you need to talk to a few rewarded UA providers to understand what their audience is about and where they buy their audiences themselves. Because there are two types of rewarded UA providers. You might be working with a single app like Scrambly, because we have our own community, our own audience, and it might be an offerable that is integrated into a ton of different games or apps like Fiverr, Tapjoy, or others, because it's an SDK offerable and their audience might be very different. You need to understand if your audience of your app can resonate with the audience of the offerable you're talking to. But at the same time, you need to understand the economics behind your user acquisition. You need to understand what your actual customer acquisition cost is that you can afford, what you want to be seen as the LTV and initial ROAS, like upper funnel and deeper funnel ROAS. Those are the key things, because rewarded essentially has two different formats. The one format is event-based reward user acquisition. It's when you're going to be giving users rewards, where the offerable is going to be giving users rewards for completing different events. But there is the playtime. Playtime, it means users are going to be rewarded based on time spent in the app. And those are two different things. If your app is a subscription-based app, you're going to be definitely given rewards for subscribing. And my suggestion would be not to give such a big reward to cover the whole subscription cost, because users are there only for the reward. You're going to give them a small cashback, but the most of the offerable or reward UA providers are going to charge you CPI. But you need to understand the audience, if this can work for you, and the economics behind user acquisition and monetization.
Let's stick with non-games a little bit, and I want to get into the game start. Besides people activating trial and giving them a reward for that, are there other things like finish that first lesson, finish the second lesson, things that you're like, hey, these work just as well as trying to convince somebody to try to activate a trial? Because I imagine like people will activate a trial and then end up canceling anyways.
Absolutely. The recipe is the longer you're going to engage them, the better return you're going to get. You need to introduce as many possible post-install events as possible. If we're talking about Bubble, I would definitely go for free trial, subscribing, subscription renewal, subscription, or different like 5 lessons completed, 10 lessons completed, etc. And if you're talking to an offerable and it's an event-based offerable, you're going to tell them that, look, I want to make sure that the users get rewards for completing 50 lessons or 100 lessons, even though there's going to be just 1% of users who are going to get there, but it's going to give you a way better chance of getting the KPIs met, the ones that you want. So you need to try to engage users super deep funnel. Reward users little at the beginning and give them higher, bigger, hefty rewards at the end of the funnel. And this is how, even though there's not going to be a lot of users who are going to get there, that's why your CPI will stay okay. It's going to be like $4, $5, $7 based on your expectations. But whenever users see that I'm going to get $50 for completing level 200, even though it's going to take me a month or so, and only super highly engaged users or the ones who making a purchase is going to get there. And this is how you basically get ROAS positive users. But there's still going to be some users who are in only for the rewards. This is a very tricky part. And this is when you got to ask the offerable, hey guys, where do you get your users from? How do you drive user acquisition for your offerable in the first place? What the demographics is like. Most importantly, it's like what kind of user data you collect and how you target those users. Because even though you might be creating the best funnel in the world, but if the offerable has only super low income users who just want the rewards, you can really make a user that has $5 in their pockets to make them pay 20, right? So they just don't have 20 to pay. When you give users too much, if you cover the whole cost of what they spend, you risk attracting low quality users. And if you give them something back and you know how to do your user acquisition right, then loyalty brings you very highly retained users. It brings also the virality. Users start sharing with their friends about the whole idea, etc.
Is there a minimum ad spend that you require, Alex?
Not really. It's $5,000, but we do work with companies who usually know what their UA is about. Let's say from small to middle well-established companies, because whenever you are new to market and you have no idea about user acquisition, rewarded is not something you gotta be doing, because you're gonna say, look, I'm gonna open you like a couple of events that take like 5-10 minutes or 1 hour. You're gonna be getting low quality users. You're gonna waste a bunch of money. You're just gonna get your economics and user acquisition idea right in the first place. You gotta know what your CAC is, what your customer acquisition cost is, what your LTV is. And let's say if you say that level or event X, that might stand for level 50, it correlates really with your retention rate day 30, and you know that your ROAS is supposed to be 70% or 100% by the day 30, that's something you're going to be targeting, but you're not going to be able to drive user acquisition on rewarded unless you have these metrics in mind. The most interesting thing that we're seeing is that the cohorts and their ROAS progression is very, very different from if you look at Google or Facebook and reward as well. And you need to understand that Facebook or Google users, they are non-incentivized. They're almost like organic users. And when you're looking at incentivized or rewarded, you're going to break even if you structure the campaign well. However, your ROAS goals are supposed to be way more aggressive. Let's say if you say that you're getting 100% ROAS by day 30 with Facebook, you're going to set the same goal for day 24 or day 21 for rewarded. Why? Because the churn rate is going to be way higher because users are less interested. And this is going to be your job of finding the right offer role who know how to re-engage users past the rewarded funnel. It's like, I know some guys at Mobility Aware and they're crazy about what they're doing. I mean, the volume of user acquisition and also from the rewarded channels that they're driving, it's crazy. And their first question to any rewarded UA partner is that, what are you doing in order to engage those users when the rewards run out? Because we're not interested in ROAS 100%. We're interested in ROAS 350%, which is going to be way down funnel compared to the initial reward funnel. It might take them 6 or 7 months, but they want to understand how those reward users going to get there if they were paid rewards initially. That's one of the key questions.